I never thought I'd be the guy writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike and I'm 35. I married my wife Lisa about 3 years ago. We were high school sweethearts and everyone thought we were the perfect couple. She was gorgeous, outgoing, and she always knew how to turn on the charm. I was crazy about her, and I thought she felt the same about me. We had our issues here and there, but nothing out of the ordinary. We were happy, or so I thought. Looking back now, I guess there were some signs I didn't want to see. Little things, you know. She'd be a little secretive with her phone, but I just brushed it off as her being protective or busy. She'd get defensive if I asked about her day, or she'd change the subject quickly. Still, I trusted her. I figured if she wanted to cheat, she'd do it outright, not with some sneaky shit. I never suspected she was capable of that kind of betrayal. Everything changed during our wedding weekend, honestly. We had a small, intimate ceremony with close friends and family. My best man, Jake, I've known him forever, practically like a brother, was supposed to be right there with me through it all. But the night before the wedding, I started noticing some weird things. Lisa was acting different, more distant. She was anxious and jittery, and she kept brushing off my questions about her plans for the next day. I just thought she was nervous, like any bride. The wedding day itself was perfect on the surface. Beautiful weather, everyone happy, and we exchanged vows. But once the ceremony was over, I caught Lisa sneaking off with Jake, not just a quick chat, but for a good 20 minutes. They disappeared behind the hedge where no one could see. I saw her coming back looking all flushed, and Jake looked a little guilty. My gut clenched, but I didn't say anything then. Instead, I just brushed it off, thinking maybe they were catching up or something. I thought maybe I was just paranoid. But then things started to get worse. The day after the wedding, Lisa was acting even stranger. She was more aggressive, snapping at me over little things, and suddenly she seemed to have this attitude like she was better than everyone else. Not fun, not flirty, more like bitchy and defensive. I'd ask her about her mood and she'd say I was imagining things, or she'd tell me I was paranoid. Honestly, I felt like I was losing my mind, but I knew deep down something was off. I just didn't have the proof yet. All I had was this gnawing feeling that something was wrong, and every instinct told me I was right. Then one day I accidentally found her phone. It was laying on the kitchen counter, unlocked. I don't normally go through her stuff, but I was curious because she kept dodging my questions and acting so weird. I glanced at the screen, and there it was, a dozen messages between her and Jake. Flirty, suggestive, you name it. Things like "can't wait to see you tonight" and "wish you were here." My stomach sank. I felt sick. It was obvious they'd been sneaking around for weeks, probably longer. I felt this ice-cold shock, like a punch to the gut. How could she do this, with my best man, no less? My best friend, I couldn't believe it. All those years of trust shattered. In an instant, I wanted to confront her right then, but I sat there holding her phone, trembling, trying to process what I'd just seen. I felt like I was in a nightmare. How could she lie so easily? She had always been so convincing, so bitchy when she didn't get her way. Now I saw her true colors. I felt betrayed, humiliated, furious. I didn't even know how to start that conversation because I knew she'd lie her way out of it. She'd probably deny everything, accuse me of snooping, or say I was overreacting. But I had the proof now, and I knew I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay. After I saw those messages, everything else in my life felt like it was crashing down around me. I couldn't sleep that night, replaying what I found over and over. My mind was racing. How long has this been going on? How many times have they met behind my back? Could she really be that cold, that manipulative? And Jake, how could he betray me like this? My best friend, my brother, in everything but blood. I felt like I was drowning in a whirlpool of hurt, anger, disbelief. The next day I knew I had to confront her. I didn't want to do it in some heated mess, but I couldn't keep pretending I didn't know. So I waited until she came home from work. When she walked in, I was sitting on the couch, her phone in my hand like some kind of proof. She saw it and immediately started with her usual snarky attitude. "What the hell, Mike? Why are you going through my phone?" She snapped, trying to brush past me. I looked right at her, my voice cold and steady. "Lisa, I know about you and Jake. Those messages, I saw everything. How long has this been going on? Tell me the truth." She rolled her eyes, scoffing. "Oh, so now you're accusing me? Wow, you're really losing it, huh? You're just jealous because I'm better than you. You're paranoid and insecure, that's all this is." I couldn't believe how she lied so effortlessly. She always did have a bitchy streak, but this was next level. I felt a mixture of rage and sadness boiling inside me. I wanted to scream at her, but I held back. Instead, I just asked again, "How long? Were you ever actually loyal, or was this just a game to you?" She crossed her arms, smirking like she thought she was the smart one. "Look, Mike, I don't owe you explanations. You're just insecure. Jake and we've always had a connection. It's been going on for a while, yeah. But you're not the only one who's unhappy. Maybe I was just looking for something real, something I never got from you. You've been distant, boring, and honestly, you're not the man I thought you were." That was a slap in the face I didn't see coming. She's always been the kind of woman who can turn things around in her favor, even when she's lying through her teeth. She's bitchy, manipulative, and she knows how to twist words. I swear her eyes flickered with this cruel glint as she spat that out. I could feel my fists clenching, but I kept my voice steady. "Are you serious? You're telling me you cheated on me and now you're trying to justify it? With my best man? How could you do this? How could you lie straight to my face and then blame me for being insecure?" I paused, trying to catch my breath. "You're pregnant, aren't you?" Her face froze for a second, then she scoffed again. "That's none of your business. I could have had a million affairs for all you know. That's what you get when you're married to a boring guy who can't satisfy his wife. I don't owe you anything anymore." The room felt like it was spinning. I thought I was prepared for what I might hear, but hearing her say it so casually, so coldly, shattered whatever remnants of trust I had left. All I could think about was the baby, her pregnancy, Jake's part in all this. My mind kept racing, trying to grasp the magnitude of her betrayal. I felt like I was standing on the edge of some emotional abyss, knowing I'd never look at her the same way again. I didn't say much after that. I just stared at her, trying to process what she'd admitted and what she was trying to deny. Inside, I was a mess. Part of me wanted to lash out, to scream, to throw her out, but I knew I had to keep my cool. Still, the hurt was overwhelming. I couldn't sleep that night either, thinking about what this meant for us, for the future, for the kid she was carrying. I knew then that nothing would ever be the same, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay, or if I could even forgive her. The days that followed were a blur of anger, confusion, and pain. I felt like I was walking around in someone else's nightmare, trying to pretend everything was normal when inside I was falling apart. Every time I looked at her, I saw a stranger, her bitchy smirk, the way she dismissed everything I said like I was just some obstacle standing in her way. The worst part was how she kept lying about everything. She insisted she was done with Jake, that the pregnancy was just a coincidence, and that I was overreacting because I was insecure or jealous. But I knew better. I saw the messages. I knew she'd been lying all along. One thing I couldn't get out of my head was the fact that she was pregnant. During our wedding weekend, with Jake's kid, that thought haunted me day and night. I kept replaying the moments where she was acting distant, nervous, then the secret meetings behind my back. It was like I'd been blind, and now I was finally seeing the truth. It didn't matter what she said anymore. I knew the truth. She'd betrayed me in the worst way possible with my best friend. The betrayal was so deep that I started to question everything. Our shared memories, everything we built together. How could she do this? How could she lie so convincingly? I felt like I'd been played, used, and discarded all in one go. The shock turned into fury. I wanted to confront Jake, to ask him how he could do this to me, to us. But part of me was afraid of what I might say or do. I was hurting so much that I felt like I was teetering on the edge of losing control. In the midst of all this chaos, I decided I needed to get some perspective. I went to see a counselor, just to help me sort through my feelings. Sitting there, spilling everything out, I realized I'd been so focused on trying to save this illusion of a perfect marriage that I'd ignored what was really going on underneath. I also started to plan my next steps. I knew I couldn't keep living in this lie, not with a baby on the way and my wife's attitude getting more and more hostile. One night, I found myself just staring at her, trying to see if there was any sign of remorse or guilt. But she just looked at me with that bitchy sneer, like I was the one who had done something wrong. I couldn't believe how cold she'd become. She told me she didn't want to talk about the baby, that it was her decision and that I should just accept it. I wanted to explode, to scream at her, to demand answers, but I held back. Inside, I knew I had to do something, but I wasn't sure what. All I knew was that I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. My whole world had been shattered. That night, I stayed awake, thinking about how everything had changed so fast. I'd gone from thinking I had the perfect wife to discovering she'd been cheating on me with my best man. And now, she was pregnant with his child. The betrayal was so raw, so overwhelming, I felt like I was drowning in it. I knew I had a decision to make, but the pain was so intense that I didn't even know where to start. All I could do was sit there, wondering how I'd ever trust again or if I'd even want to. The next few days were a roller coaster of emotions. I was furious, heartbroken, confused, sometimes all at once. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat properly. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, that bitchy smirk, her dismissive attitude. I kept thinking about how she lied to me, how she manipulated everyone around her. Honestly, I started to hate her. That's a hard sentence to say, but it's the truth. How could she be so selfish, so cold? She's pregnant with Jake's kid and she's still acting like she's the victim. It made me sick to my stomach. One night, I finally decided I had enough. I needed to confront Jake. I couldn't keep hiding from this. I needed to look him in the eyes and ask him what the hell he thought he was doing. So I called him. I told him I wanted to meet, that I had some things to say. When we finally sat down, I didn't hold back. I asked him how he could do this, how he could betray his best friend, the guy who had his back through everything, for some girl who's nothing but trouble. Jake looked uncomfortable, squirming a little, but he tried to act like it was no big deal. Look, Mike, you don't understand. Lisa and I, we have a connection. It's not just sex, it's real. I didn't plan for any of this to happen the way it did, but I couldn't fight it anymore. I care about her. I know I messed up, but I'm not going to apologize for loving her. You're just mad because you're losing her. That hit me like a punch in the gut. Loving her, that's all he cared about. I looked at him with pure rage. You're a damn traitor. You've been screwing her behind my back for who knows how long, and now you're trying to justify it. She's pregnant, Jake, with your kid. How can you possibly justify that? He shrugged, trying to act like he was the innocent victim. It's complicated. But I'm not leaving her, Mike. We're building something real. You should just accept it, move on. Maybe you're not the guy she really wants. That day, I felt my world shatter even more. I'd always thought Jake was my brother, my best friend. Turns out, he was just a guy who'd betray me for a quick fuck. The pain was so raw I couldn't even speak anymore. I left that meeting more broken than ever. I realized there was no way I could stay in this mess, not with everything I knew now. I had to get out, had to figure out what I wanted to do next. Back home, Lisa was waiting for me. Her face was calm but bitchy, like she was already planning her next move. I looked at her and saw how she was trying to act like nothing had changed. But I knew better. I knew she'd been lying, cheating, manipulating me from the start. My stomach clenched again, feeling the weight of everything I'd discovered. I thought about our wedding, all the promises we made, and how she'd shattered every single one of them. In that moment, I made a decision. I couldn't keep living in this false reality. I couldn't keep pretending I was okay with her lying and cheating. I realized that I deserved better, deserved someone who wouldn't betray me in the worst way possible. I felt a strange mixture of relief and despair, knowing I'd have to start over, rebuild what I'd lost, or maybe just walk away entirely. The pain was still there, but deep down, I knew I couldn't keep sacrificing myself for a relationship built on so much betrayal. It was time to face the truth and do what I had to do. The days that followed were some of the hardest I've ever experienced. I felt like I was stuck in this terrible fog, unsure of what was real anymore. Every time I saw Lisa, her bitchy attitude just made me more angry. She kept acting like she was the victim, like I was the one who screwed everything up. Meanwhile, she was pregnant with Jake's kid, and she didn't even seem to care about how much that hurt me. She told me she was done with the lies, but I didn't believe her. How could I, when she lied to my face so many times? I'd lost all trust. I knew I had to make a decision. I couldn't keep living in this chaos, constantly questioning what was real and what was fake. I started talking to a lawyer, thinking about my options. My head was spinning. Divorce, separation, whatever it was, I knew I had to get out before I lost my mind completely. I also started to plan how I was going to confront her again, knowing that whatever I said or did probably wouldn't change her attitude. She was stubborn, bitchy, and manipulative. Just like that, I felt like I was fighting a losing battle. One night, I sat down with her and told her I wanted her out of my house. I told her I couldn't be around her anymore, not with the way she was acting. She threw a fit, of course. Started yelling, calling me insecure, accusing me of trying to control her. Typical Lisa, blame everyone else for her mistakes. She told me I was overreacting, that I was making everything worse, that I should just accept it and move on. But I couldn't, not anymore. I told her I'd be filing for divorce, that I wanted her out of my life for good. She looked at me with that bitchy smirk like she was already planning her next move, but I didn't care anymore. I was done. In the days that followed, I felt this strange mix of relief and sadness. Part of me wanted to break down, to fall apart, but I knew I had to stay strong. I had to get through this. I also started to think about my future, about healing and moving on from this nightmare. I realized I'd been so caught up in trying to save what wasn't really there that I'd ignored my own happiness. Now, I was finally facing the truth. I deserved better than this mess, than a wife who lied and cheated and lied some more. The betrayal cut deep, but I knew I had to take control of my life again. I saw her once more before she moved out, and she had the nerve to act like she was the victim, like I was the one ruining everything. But I just looked at her and felt a strange sense of clarity. I was already starting to let go of her, of the pain, and of the nightmare she had become. I realized that the only way to heal was to walk away and rebuild myself. And that's what I'm doing now, trying to piece my life back together, knowing I'll never forget what happened, but also knowing I can't let it define me. It's a brutal lesson in trust and betrayal, but I guess I'm stronger than I thought. Now, looking back, I realize how much this whole ordeal has changed me. I used to think trust was the foundation of any relationship, but after Lisa and Jake, I see how easily that trust can be shattered in an instant. It's like I was hit with a wrecking ball and I'm still picking up the pieces. The pain doesn't go away overnight, and honestly, some days are still worse than others. But I've learned a few things through all this, mostly about myself. First, I learned that I deserve honesty and respect. I shouldn't settle for someone who manipulates, lies, and makes a mockery of everything we built together. I was blinded for a long time because I loved her, but love isn't supposed to hurt this much. It's supposed to lift you up, not tear you apart. Second, I realized that forgiving isn't about excusing what she did. It's about freeing myself from the anger and bitterness that hold me back. I won't forget what happened, but I refuse to let it define my future. Instead, I see this as a brutal lesson, one that's made me stronger and more aware. I've started focusing on myself now, going to therapy, reconnecting with friends, and rediscovering what makes me happy. The trust issues are still there, but I'm slowly working through them. I know I'll probably be cautious for a long time, maybe forever, but I'm okay with that. I want someone who values honesty, who respects me, and who understands that love is built on trust and mutual support, not lies and betrayal. Looking at all of this, I want to tell anyone going through something similar: don't ignore the signs. Don't let yourself be blinded by love or by what you think you want. If someone is lying to you, cheating on you, or treating you like you're nothing, walk away. It's better to be alone than miserable with someone who doesn't deserve you. And no matter how much it hurts now, time will heal. You'll get through it, and in the end, you'll learn who really matters. I may be battered and bruised, but I'm still standing. And someday, I know I'll find happiness again.